Hello everyone, we would be talking about the communication networks for payments in this video. When we talk about the communication networks for payments, the first type of network that comes into our mind is the ATM services that are available. Now, ATM service is basically a ATM network which is linking the ATMs which are run by the banks or a group of banks, and it allows the customer to withdraw the money without regardless of the location. So that's the first communication network that is included. Then the second type of network that is included is card payment service. Now, card payment services includes the point of sales which are there, okay, POS which are available, POS networks are included in it, and POS networks include they allow a customer to use the cards, that is the plastics, in order to undertake the different transactions of purchase of goods or services regardless of location. Then we have the third network party, which is internet. Now, internet includes the facility of electronic fund transfer using the internet services. So it includes electronic fund transfers. Then here we use the electronic fund transfer through a electronic data interchange, and that is included in it. Here we are using the internet in order to undertake the electronic transactions for online shopping and e-commerce transactions. Here the payment is widespread, okay, widespread network can be covered through the internet services. We are including many types of payment networks here. For example, there would be PayPal as well as other networks which are available. Here the transactions are undertaken through the internet connection which is there. The fourth type of network is mobile networks. Mobile networks are basically payments done through the mobile phones. Here the payments are done through mobile phones. Using the various apps, we are undertaking the transactions through our mobile phones. Instead of using cash or credit cards or checks, we use our mobile phones in order to undertake the payments. And lastly, we have interbank clearing and settlement network. Now, interbank clearing and settlement network uses the communication networks to ensure that the participating financial institutions can undertake the exchange of financial messages in a very quick and secure manner. Here, the communication is enabled between multiple parties, and the communication network has a very huge advantage of reduced costs and increased reach. In India, interbank clearing is undertaken through the following methods. If we are talking about within India, if we are using the interbank settlements, within India, if the interbank settlements have to be undertaken, then we would be using the three different networks that are available. The first one is through a clearing house. wherein all the banks come together and they meet up at a central location in a particular place. Generally it is either RBI or State Bank of India, or Reserve Bank of India. And State Bank of India, it becomes a focal point for the checks to be routed by all the participant banks in this particular area. And a net settlement is done at the clearing house after considering the aggregate value of checks which are presented, and the accounts are settled in a net manner. For example, SBI owes Axis Bank, say for example 10,000 rupees. So a check of 10,000 rupees has been drawn on SBI from Axis Bank. 10,000 rupees of SBI on Axis Bank. Then in the same manner, rupees 5,000 check has been drawn by Axis Bank on SBI. Then the net would be transferred by Axis Bank to State Bank of India, and in this manner the transactions are settled in a particular type of a clearing house. Then there is ECS, that is electronic clearance and settlement. ECS or electronic clearing service is basically a transaction, that is electronic clearing service. Now, electronic clearing service is an electronic mode of payment or receipt for transactions that are repetitive in nature. Repetitive in nature means, for example, if a person has to pay EMI every month, then he would be giving a ECS transaction. Why? Because every month this particular transaction has to be undertaken. These transactions, that is ECS mode, is used by institutions for making bulk payments such as payment of dividends or payments of salaries or payments of interest or payment of pension. Further, the collection amounts are also undertaken in bulk. If for example a telephone bill has to be paid, a water duty has to be paid, an electricity bill has to be paid, or a tax collection has to be done, all of these things are done through ECS. ECS is basically bulk transfer of monies from the bank accounts of the people to another bank accounts. Okay, एक बैंक अकाउंट में से दूसरे बैंक अकाउंट में बल्क में जब ट्रांजेक्शन्स करने हो तब ECS सिस्टम यूज किया जाता है. ECS and clearing system, both of them are reliant on magnetic ink character recognition, that is microcode has to be there for ECS as well as clearing house transaction, and when these two conditions are present, then the transactions are undertaken in a very simple and smooth manner. Very quickly the transactions would be undertaken. And a third payment network within India is your RTGS or Neft. RTGS or Neft. Okay, RTGS stands for real time gross settlement, wherein what happens if this is the case, that is 10,000 rupees have to be transferred by SBI to Axis and 5,000 rupees have to be transferred by Axis to SBI. Then what happens in RTGS, 10,000 would be transferred by State Bank of India and 5,000 would be transferred by Axis Bank. Here though netting would be undertaken. Okay, here the transactions, then there is Neft transaction. Neft is basically National Electronic Funds Transfer. National Electronic Fund Transfer. And when we are undertaking the Neft transactions, Neft में नेट ट्रांजेक्शन्स अंडरटेक किए जाते हैं. यहाँ पे हम ले जाके इन्हें वी वुड बी नेटिंग ऑफ एंड देन वी वुड बी ट्रांसफरिंग लाइक द सिमिलर केस ऑफ अ क्लियरिंग हाउस. क्लियरिंग हाउस में जैसे हमने नेट 5,000 रुपीज़ SBI को ट्रांसफ़र किए थे, वैसे ही नेफ्ट में भी नेट ट्रांजेक्शन्स ही किए जाते हैं. ग्रॉस ट्रांजेक्शन्स यहाँ पे नहीं किए जाते हैं. हियर द ट्रांजेक्शन्स आर प्रोसेस्ड अकॉर्डिंग टू बैचेस विच आर कमिंग इन एंड नेटेड पेमेंट्स वुड बी ओनली अंडरटेकन. नेफ्ट ऑपरेट्स ऑन अ deferred net settlement basis. Okay, deferred sorry, deferred net settlement basis, that is only a certain batch of transactions would be processed, and then the netted offs would be undertaken, netting off would be undertaken, and payable of receivables only would be done. Now going ahead to the across border transactions, we first covered the within India transactions. Now let's go on to the across border transactions. There are across border transactions के लिए we use generally the SWIFT network. Okay, SWIFT network is used in order to undertake the across border transactions. The SWIFT stands for Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. The SWIFT network facilitates that the banks across the financial institutions across the world are able to transmit and receive secure, standardized and reliable data related to financial transactions through its network. SWIFT is owned by member financial institutions and it was established in 1977, owned by member financial institutions. Okay, what does the SWIFT do? The main purpose of SWIFT is so let's write down the purposes. Purpose of SWIFT. The first purpose of establishing SWIFT is to supply secure messaging services. Secure messaging services. These secure messaging services helps the particular banks in order to undertake the transactions without any fear, then contribute to the increased financial transaction, contribute to increased financial transactions, because if it becomes simpler then the transactions would be undertaken in a higher manner. Okay, higher transactions undertake किए जा सकते हैं. Then we have the next purpose of having the SWIFT network, that is it provides standardization in the area of communication. Standardization in the communications. These are the three different purposes for which the SWIFT network was established. Here there are few features which are available. So let's see the features of SWIFT. The first feature of SWIFT is that it is available 24/7 without any type of delays or without any types of lags. Standard message formats are there. Then here because of standard message formats, automated handling of messages is possible. The third one, delivery is very swift. Okay, very speedily you are able to communicate. Then after, there is a high level of security. And lastly, we have financial liability for accuracy, completeness and timely delivery of messages is also possible. Okay, timely delivery of messages assumes responsibility of timely delivery of messages in its completeness. In the next lecture, we would be seeing about the various types of wealth management objectives. First in it, we would be seeing the investment objectives. Thank you everyone.